An experiment here. Wait a minute.
Yeah,
There we go. We're going to do an experiment here to make some machinist wax. So we've got just regular paraffin here with an orange crayon thrown in so we can see the shavings when we machine. And we've got a baggie over here of Walmart bags. It's supposed to be the right type of plastic to alloy with this to make it a little stiffer. Cut into little bitty ribbons.
Yep.
And we're going to just melt them together and see how this works. And if it works, great. We have this nice little medium that we can make patterns out of. If it doesn't work so well, you get to see your fireball.
So the recipe I read online says that you're supposed to take paraffin wax or canning wax, and you melt that first, and then Walmart bags. But there's something special about it. When you look for the little triangle that says for recycle, there'll be a little number 2 in there, and you want to make sure that it's a number 2. It should be low density polyurethane, and that's what you want to melt in. But we got this really spooky old hot plate. We're gonna give it a shot. See how it works.
Little sparks.
I can definitely feel a little bit of electricity in that.
Oh,
so
that was wet.
yeah.
Nice.
So that's always key. Safety first, right? Or third.
Well, that is a little getting
Yep.
hot though. Wire coils in there.
Be sure to save printer parts for stir sticks. You know, they're handy. Tickled a lot. I'm looking forward to unplugging it. I'm gonna go to the wall and unplug that thing.
Yes. Let's carry this and drag the cord through the dew as it's like midnight.
Yeah.
And then we just.
I think it's like midnight, something like that.
My wife wonders what I do when she sleeps. This. Welding's not dangerous enough. No, we must melt polymers indoors. Pretty good. So this requires direct heat, not a double boiler.
The reason why it requires direct heat is the wax melts at 110 degrees Fahrenheit, or right around there. And the plastic is supposed to melt at 300, but the wax is like self-ignition temperature is just above that of the melting point of the plastic. So you have to have direct heat because a double boiler would only get up to 212 degrees Fahrenheit. So you wouldn't have enough to melt the plastic.
So that's why we put the wax in first, melt the wax, add the plastic. This is the thermometer for checking when the...
Yeah. Yep.
Otherwise we'd have fire and, yeah.
I mean, another smart thing would be to have a candy thermometer, but nah, safety third, right?
My mom wouldn't want to use it.
Oh, she would.
She's got one.
I know. I just don't want to clean it.
Just make some chocolates. It's just wax. Oh, and Walmart plastic.
Yeah, Walmart plastic.
That's in cookies anyway.
Yeah.
So a whole gob of wax in there.
Yeah. We'll probably put about half of this in there and then start the plastic.
The shavings are really nice to get it started, though.
Oh yeah, I can mill it really fast, but it's going to make a giant mess, and I want to be able to clean it up. And if it's just white wax and you're picking up all these little shavings, you're bound to miss them. Well, they show up a little brighter, especially under the light, if it's got a little crayon in it or something. I mean, I would have used black, but I found an orange one first, and it was broken, so I just threw it in there.
It kind of looks like sugar.
I kind of thought it looked like a popsicle.
It looks like the darker wax sank to the bottom.
Yep.
Well, you know, we could do time lapse here. Well, we'll start adding some plastic because it's mostly melted.
Yeah.
Getting it on the burner. How much is it by weight, by volume, or just some?
It's supposed to be by weight. The recipe I read is supposed to be about 60% wax to 40%, you know.
Also, say about when here.
Well, we'll let this melt here,
Oh boy.
and then we'll see.
Is it getting? Well, it's just getting coated with wax at this point.
Yep. We'll get this melted. See how it fares.
It's a really funky purple cabbage. Yummy.
And it's kind of stringing. Yeah, it's kind of melting.
It's kind of getting there.
Yeah.
So this is going to be a grayish orange nastiness.
Yep.
Well, at least the ladies won't try to put canning lids in it. More.
Yeah. So now the whole point behind putting plastic in here is it's supposed to make a harder wax. It's supposed to be easier to clamp in your milling machine, and lovely.
Stretchy.
Yep. Supposed to be able to clamp it in your milling machine better.
Whoa, look at that.
I know it.
You just slurped it up.
It is melting.
You say when with the more of this.
Put quite a bit in there, and we'll see what we get.
It's kind of bad because it's like really not easy to remove from the bag.
Yeah, I know. I should have used a gallon bag or a quart bag.
You can sweep it up. A little speck of dust or two ain't gonna hurt nothing.
Just waiting for a bit to hit the burner. I mean, it is melting.
Yep, definitely.
And that has got some nasty color going on. Blue and gray
Like
Walmart
when you mix
bag.
all the Easter egg colors. So, what percentage do you think we're at?
I would say right now we're looking to be probably around 20%.
So about this much more?
That'd be good, yeah.
You think that'll work?
So, well, about half the bag is what I figured we'd get in there for this batch here, and then we got a second batch that we're gonna do.
Trying to wad it up tight in my hand so I'm hairy. I really don't want this going that way. So much.
Yep.
So far, so good. You know, this could be how to wreck a pot in 30 minutes too.
Yeah, you're kind of entertaining.
It's like when we made napalm in here in the 50-gallon drum with the gasoline and this, you know, one of his welding shop.
Oh.
Yeah, that was impressive. Black, yeah, rafters are still black. Looks like the suit from Conan the Barbarian. All the people in it.
Now I'm sure these fumes are not very friendly.
The spider don't like it. Oh, that's a dead fly. It's certainly, is it like goo in the bottom?
It's just goo stuck to the stick. I need to let the stick it hot.
Okay, that's not just steam. I mean, we're close to this going foof. What do you think? Oh yeah, there's a big pile of sludge in the bottom.
Yeah.
Is that the... Do we have a lid for this little guy?
No. No lid.
That's sort of somewhat...
No, not really. No. Got all kinds of plastic and wood we can throw on top of it.
As long as the board,
flammable things.
as long as said board and or thing covers the edges of the pot, and it can snuff out the fireball that's soon to occur.
Imminent.
How do you make diesel on the kitchen stove? Yeah,
we're getting there. You know, I think we could probably add a little more wax.
Yeah, just to cool it.
We might be able to get most of it done all in this one pot. Last time, that pot held most of the wax. Since it's real thin plastic, it shouldn't really be that much by volume. So, we'll throw a little more wax in here to hopefully help soak up some of the plastic. Not really sure on what the weight we got going.
Some and some more.
Yep, some and some more is a good definition there, yep.
It's not like we're making gunpowder here.
It is cooling it down quite a bit. Whoa, 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 whoa.
And we have fire. And we have blowtorch. And we just move this.
Yep.
Quick breath. Go boom.
It's going to burn for a bit. Yep. We'll just push it over the fire, and we'll use that heat. Not too worried.
Old wax.
As the great people say, it'll be fine.
It's fine.
It'll be fine.
The other great people, safety third.
Yep, safety third.
Don't forget to mention first and second.
Yep.
There's some funny people out there. It's kind of neat.
Now here, let me.
Yeah, you do that.
You're still getting nasty gobs in the bottom.
Yeah, but it's really weird. It's like, well, we just increased the wax volume, but it seems like it's getting more fluid.
Yeah. Another great trick to doing this is using a deep fryer. And you can have a temperature setting on there. A little more reliable.
Sad, though.
Yeah.
Sad. Potentially a waste of a very awesome thing.
Well, we got this awesome 1950s hot plate.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that.
This will make bullets.
Yep.
Yeah, the wax is like gone.
Yep. So I guess we'll let it get back up to temperature where we get that funky smoke coming out again. And then we'll do a pour.
Here. So the view inside the pot looks like the soup from Conan.
Yep. If I keep digging here, I'm going to find a skull, maybe a foot.
A hand.
Yeah.
It's basically just a rubber glove full of like something. Like.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's the goop. You were going to see it when we poured it, but we might as well show all stages of this. Uh-oh, we lost power. Ouch, hot.
Charger?
Are ashes supposed to come out of that when we snap it back?
Nothing else. It's a nice way to melt plastic.
Something tells me those vapors.
You're playing havoc with your lungs?
No, oddly enough, not. They should be.
Well, for once you got a video with no respirator.
Yeah, the yellow Scuba Steve mask is on. Poor guys at work. What got them really good was the first time I walked out of the bathroom wearing it. Cheater! No fair! You should have to smell it.
Oh, man.
Funny. Good people. Or is the gray sponge the actual machinist wax?
Most machining wax... Oh, I'm stepping the screen. Most machining wax is gray and green. So I'm imagining we got to be pretty close to the correct recipe. You know, minus a crayon.
That's because industry uses Walmart bags, yes?
Yeah, it's cheap, right?
We're recycling.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing, yes. What we're kind of trying to accomplish here is machining a waxed blank that then can be put into an investment and then melted up, burned out, and then we'll make a bronze version of it. And to some extent, we only really need to machine the first one because then we can always use a silicone mold to replicate the wax. It needs a different kind of wax than just paraffin because it cracks and it breaks and it tends to melt under the tool. This is a little more resilient to temperature and it'll hold up better. It'll be a little closer to Delrin versus just regular wax.
Yeah. And being that it's wax, my feeds and speeds on my milling machine can be much higher. I only have a 200-watt spindle on my machine, which is a quarter horse. There's not a whole lot of power to be spared. And when I'm milling it out of wood or cutting board plastic, surprisingly, this is great for milling. I have to go about 350 millimeters a minute. My machine's all metric. With the wax, I should be able to push that speeds up to 600 to 700 millimeters a minute. So I should have plenty of power to spare at that point still. And
it's gray now. It's
all right.
Green.
Sorry, I'm not trying to blow all the smoke in your face, but
is it smoke at this point? Yes, I think it is.
Are we still getting stringy gobs? Not really.
No, I think a little more. We don't want to go flambe, but yeah. What happens if we pour this and it ignites the vapors? As it is close to the burner.
When I unplug it, that'll be molten for a few minutes.
Oh, you know. I see. We'll let that stop glowing before we.
No, we're gonna take the pan off, set it on the table saw workbench, and then remove the burning hot plate.
Okay, because if these vapors get to the red stuff there, I'm thinking they're going to go poof. Because I think that's at least kerosene vaporizing off of that.
Oh, I got a lighter.
No. Did you see this between the source? No.
Hold your breath.
Hold your breath. It's going to smell like hair.
You want me to unplug it?
You just give time.
Alright.
Okay, you unplug that.
Alright.
Do you need welding gloves for this?
I have a...
I think the coils are well below the point of ignition now.
Yes, but that does not mean that thing is cold.
I'm just going to do it.
Alright, here, let me...
So we got the goop and the soup. You're going to not burn yourself, right? Because you burn yourself, scream, and... Ow. That's some funny stuff right there. Okay, let's pour the wax, and it's mostly... Yeah, we don't want the gob. There's a little gob.
Nope.
What do you think?
Try to get that gob out if we can. I know it went right about here.
Sorry. I don't think the gob's going to bother you.
Oh no, I meant I want to get the gob that fell in out. Alright, now yes, this has a funky smell.
Yeah, it was ready to go boom. That's about the flashpoint smell.
Yeah, this doesn't quite smell like just wax anymore. It smells like what happens?
Burning garbage.
No, it smells like what happens when you short out one of them cheap Chinese toys.
Oh, the magic smoke.
Yeah, you get some magic smoke.
Look at it.
Yeah, a little bit of funkiness.
There's like clouds forming on the top.
Yeah.
Weird. We gotta get in there and film that. I don't know how well the computer may just fog up here, or the camera might just fog up. But yeah, no, you can see it.
No. We got a little bit glue up in there.
Oh,
This is the remnants of the Walmart bags that did not fully immerse into the wax. It's got a nice gray color.
yeah.
Hopefully it stays that color when it hardens. Which the slower it cools, the better. It will help keep it from falling in the middle.
Yeah.
The flatter of a surface I can have means the more wax I have to work with when I'm making the part. On my channel, Nikolai 414, I'm going to be doing a sword guard for the Sword of Omens long version that Will is making. And
I've already done a short version about 15 years ago. Now I'm going to make the full, after it grows, the full version.
So it's just the guard that I need to worry about. He's already carved out of wood the main grip on the handle, and it's the guard that needs to be shaped. Well, I have a 3040 CNC mill. It's a Chinese mill. It runs great. But for 3D toolpaths, I just don't have the power. So we're using wax to get more power, or seemingly more power out of my mill. And since he's going to be casting this piece anyway, wax is perfect for the job. So
And we're going to machine the first one, and then I'll use, again, like I said earlier, silicone to make a mold off of this wax piece. Then this machining wax will be remelted into a bar for the next paraffin wax, pour it in there, put that in the investment. And then, because this one's a little too detailed for green sand, lost wax is the way to go, the preferred method for this.
So once this sets and hardens, you'll be able to see the machining video over on my channel, and then we'll return back to Will's channel for the casting video.
Yep.
So there'll be a little bit of collaboration between us.
Yep.
So,
and basically I'll take the wax copy in my video, put it in the investment, mix up the investment, show that process, and then show the burnout process, because you don't want the wax in there when the bronze goes in, because it will just burn, smoke, and bubble, and you will not be happy. And then, well, of course, let that cool to the desired time, throw it in a bucket of water, and then all the investment pops off. And it should be pretty cool. And others have done this. I'm not the first to do a Sword of Omens. There's many other YouTubers who have done this, and I enjoy watching them do it. The reason I'm finally getting to making the long version is, like I said, about 10, 15 years ago, I used to make a short version. And it's just one of those things I want to check off. You know, you think about art students, blacksmithing students, if you will, especially with YouTube here, and it's kind of a portfolio to show your skills and show what you can do. So I don't look at it as copying someone else's methods or artwork. I look at it as, you know, you go through an art school, you go through watercolor, you go through oil paints, you go through different things. There's processes you do, and maybe certain famous paintings. Sorry. There's projects you do, and maybe certain paintings you mimic or try to recreate, like in a painting thing you may do the Mona Lisa and try to match the original as best you can. Well, I think in the world of custom swordsmithing, especially fantasy swordsmithing, everyone has a version of the Sword of Omens. Everyone has a version of the Master Sword from Link. You know, the Cloudbuster sword. You look at Michael Cthulhu. I love what he does. It's outrageously huge. But it's, you know, I would love to meet these people someday in real life, because it would just be a tremendous amount of fun, I think.
On that same note, it's just an experience, a learning experience.
Yeah.
I have never done any 3D machining yet. All I've done is 2.5D, and 3D machining is kind of the goal. I mean, I finally got a 4th axis set up, but I won't be using that on this project. But yeah, I get to learn, and with machining wax, again, I have no wear and tear on my machine. So if I'm taking too deep a cut, which a lot of times in 3D machining, I haven't played with it enough to know quite what settings to change without improving my machining time, but it'll plunge right into the bit, or the bit will go all the way in, and it's not made to cut, you know, basically slotting that way. It's not made to cut that way, so wax is a lot more forgiving. And again, that's why we're doing this. It's something for me to do. I haven't done it. Will needs.
Yeah,
Will
I
needs
can stand there with a Dremel, and I can carve this car. But why? I mean, we have machines here to do this for us. It's also an interesting concept, even if we had a full-on Bridgeport sitting here. Okay, so we mill a prototype out of aluminum even. It's wrong. Customer wants it changed. Client wants it changed. I don't like it. You don't like it. Okay, we can remelt the aluminum. But what, 1200 degrees versus
300?
Yeah, 300 degrees. Wax is cheap. I mean, compared to brass, Delrin's cheap. That's why it's done that way. Prototyping.
This is the wax, machining wax we casted last night. I still need to heat the edges of the pan and the bottom of the pan just enough to get it to release, because it's in there pretty good. But I can already tell it's a lot harder of a wax. You can just feel it. It's got some weird cooling artifacts, but it's pretty good.
There we go. Pop loose.
There's the wax brick. Little bit of plastic remnants in the bottom, but that should mill up just fine.